Hello and welcome to the GameTsune podcast. We are doing a reaction to the Nintendo Direct Mini that just dropped today. It's been a while, so just get back out.
This is also distant podcast. None of us are in the same room.
Right. So with us today, we have a special guest, Colin. Please introduce yourself.
Hi. Yeah, I do
That was
I
efficient.
do videos.
Your voice is so silky right
You
now.
do
It's
videos.
unbelievable. Anyway,
I've never seen any of your videos.
so today there's been rumblings for maybe a week or 2 weeks that a Nintendo Direct would drop on today, and it did, but it was kind of, I don't know. It was one of those like Nintendo's like, hey, look at this bottle, and then they uncork it and lightning pops out, and you're like, oh shit.
Look at this bone.
Like the only real lead up there was them basically trolling everyone on social media yesterday, and that's kind of where I would start actually with this discussion, where it's just like they tweeted all day and just stuff like um they would play wordplay, like word puns. I think there was a Takatu picture where it says head directly to Takatu for some secret information or something, and it's just like, oh my god, really?
It was rumored before then, if I
Yeah,
remember.
yeah. Well, the EA leaks. EA accidentally leaked out this, and the whole there was. I remember seeing this very wishful, fake image. It said like an exciting Nintendo Direct, almost 2 hours of content. Like, like that would ever happen.
Yeah, it's
Honestly, we're
what
lucky
was
if
I
we
saying?
get directs that are 50 minutes long. But discussion for another day. Uh,
Yeah, I wish they were longer considering how much stuff they pack in. Like they could easily make just a press conference length direct, but they always choose to kind of cut it a bit short.
you think so?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's good that they have some brevity, but at the same time, I'm just kind of like, ugh. But not. It is definitely better that they did go the Nintendo Direct route. It probably saves them a boatload of money and time and
Anton, do you
resources.
mind, like, I don't know, turning up your volume or getting close to the mic?
Um,
Yeah,
this good.
that's much better. Anyways, I was talking with Colin about this a little bit beforehand, but I think the cream of the crop was the Chibi Robo praising the sun, or just melting, and no one
Hmm.
knew what that meant.
Yeah,
Was that a reference to Dark
Yeah,
Souls?
it is.
it was.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
It was pretty cryptic. I think like no one would put Chibi Robo and Dark Souls together. Like
No one would put Chibi Robo in anything ever because he just is
that's
dead,
also true.
unfortunately.
He is a shelf ornament in my amiibo display case, and that's about all he'll ever be. But just really, like, I don't know. It's such a weird departure. Like usually they announce directs at least like a day or two, and it's just like no announcement. They just dropped it at 6 a.m. Pacific time this morning.
Which is nice. It's nice that Nintendo is like willing to be more not I mean it's funny that they're trolly. They're kind of doing what a lot of other like social media pages do, like especially the Sonic Twitter does lots of crazy stuff, and like the and Arby's loves to do just stupid make food out of all this nerd stuff. But I don't know. I'm going on lots of tangents. Forgive
I
me.
don't think this is nice. I would have appreciated knowing that I'd wake up. Like, I would have set an alarm to wake up to this. Instead, I just kind of like, oh, well, the entire direct is unfolded on my Twitter feed.
I actually I actually did wake up right to it before everything got spoiled to me because I had to get up at like 7 for school because I'm doing that now. I'm being a productive member of society. But it's like, but fortunately it was on my Facebook feed, and it was just in its full form. I didn't scroll any further just to prevent those spoilers that everyone throws out.
Everything was spoiled to me before I saw it. But anyways, how about you, Colin? Did you just? I imagine you just kind of lazily happened upon it.
Yeah, I it was Twitter feed. Like I woke up, like I don't have to work today. Let me see what's on Twitter. Like Dark Souls on Switch, huh? I guess that fake direct was a real direct.
One of them.
Direct to your anus.
Yeah, I can't complain too much.
Though, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it did what I was waiting for. Like I was definitely aware for a little while there of everything that was in the direct before going through it, but there were a couple of like tidbits in the direct that were really nice.
All right. So just
I know that. Oh, sorry. I know that there was like a lot of people in the comments section kind of complaining about it, but I kind of like that it was a bit port heavy, because I mean, it's kind of like a relief to get ports on the Switch that people want.
this is actually kind
I
of.
know that people kind of got hit.
I'm glad, Anton, you're here because honestly,
Am I devil's advocate?
me and Colin are the people. We're the audience that's gonna get bit on this from all the ports.
Fucking Nintendo.
Because between the two of us, I think we've bought almost every single that's a good word. We've purchased every single port that they announced today.
Yep.
On its original hardware.
On one thing or another, and we'll get into it more. But as a whole, I actually was pretty pleased with this direct as kind of a Nintendo enthusiast. Not really, because on a consumer level, it's one of those like, oh, you're right. When you kind of suck out all the fun and magic of the presentation, it's just kind of like, I get to buy all those games again. Yay.
Yep.
Well, I mean, a big reason why I'm obviously devil's advocate is I didn't have a Wii U.
Right. So for
kind of
you,
like,
this is actually good because it's like
yeah,
all the
like,
games that you missed are here.
Because I do have a Switch now, which is like the first console it's the first console I have bought since 7 years ago. I mean, if you don't count handheld, because I got the 3DS like 4 or 5 years ago, but the PS3 was my last big console purchase.
Yeah, I mean, the Switch is definitely getting out to, I would say, like my cheapskate friends. Sorry, Anton, to lump you in there, but like Stefan is a good example. Like Stefan is always talking about how conscious he has to be about. Well, he's not always talking about this, but he has to be conscious about money, and somehow he also got a Switch, and it's like something about this console is appealing to people.
We're talking to you, Stefan.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's I'm playing Klonoa right now and I keep dying. Damn it. But yeah, sorry, I kind of cut you off. Nat, continue.
I was gonna say, like, to you, like, this is really but I mean, if unless you have more general thoughts, let's just dive straight through like what they announced, right?
Well, yeah, like yeah, we can probably just get a bit more specific, but yeah, I was more enthusiastic just because I have not played these games before, or yeah, but we can go more in detail from the specific games.
All right, starting off pretty strong with The World Ends With You Final Remix. Anton, did you play this game at all?
No, I have. It's just one of those games that's always been on my radar. I've always been told just universally how great it is. It's kind of one of those games that's just kind of universally praised. You never really hear any like ill will towards it or anything.
Yeah, I'm in a similar
but
boat.
like I would always like check and it's like, oh cool, I can still buy a brand new copy on Amazon for pretty cheap, but then I just never got around to it. My girlfriend loves the game. She's played it before, and she actually lost her copy, so she was pretty stoked about this announcement. But yeah, it's like, oh cool. Because obviously it's new hardware, so I'm way more inclined. I'm like way more motivated to play a game if it's on my Switch than my 3DS at this point.
So,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna go with you. I was just mainly agreeing with you.
Well, I actually, this is one of the reasons why I was kind of excited to have Colin on finally. It's just like, oh, he played that game.
It took Nat to cross states for Colin to get on this podcast.
Shut up. Don't reveal the secrets. Anyways, so Colin, please, I've never actually heard you talk about this game.
There's not really a whole lot to say because the experience of the game is just all, it's all playing it. The game has a couple of problems. The pacing is kind of weird at times, and there's mechanics that aren't terribly important that they don't really work with very much. Other than that, like, a lot of people who don't like the game didn't play it very much because the gameplay is mechanically more complicated than it needs to be. It's a really interesting game to play though because of that as well. So it's kind of yeah.
Oh my God,
it's just it expects you to do a lot of shit all at once, and it never bothered me that it did that. Because it doesn't really take that much work to get into it, but I can see why people would get deterred by it, you know? So I have heard some people not like that. Good story, fun game. I'd give it a good, 7.5.
Wow, you're the first person.
Oh, wow, you're throwing in the decimal points.
Yeah. Call it
it's not an 8. The game's not an 8. It's also solidly above a 6 and solidly above a 7. So it's like, yeah.
That's pretty low for what most people say about it. A lot of people put it in
my standards are
8-9
pretty
range.
Specific. Like, so I'm saying
for your
5
tastes.
is dead average, and so a 6 would be an above average game. So it's still a very good game.
That makes sense.
Just so you know, like, Anton hates rating games like this, so I'm enjoying this quite a bit.
What, like, oh, a 70%? That's a C. That means you passed. Like, fuck, I'm not grading my games like I'm grading a test. There's not a percentage that I expect out of a game. Like, you don't meet minimum qualities. You just have a value as a game, and you're better or worse.
That's true. I mean, the only reason why I get all irked about specific yours makes sense because you backed it up, but I kind of just get irked because IGN has always had their really weird rating system that doesn't make any sense.
Because they're just kind of bad.
They just have their reasons and oh, this is good and bad, and then they just throw out some random number that has it's like this game has this thing and this. Oh, it really needs to work on this. 8.2. It's like, where'd that point 2
that's
come
why
from?
Literally no one anywhere trusts any part of games journalism as a whole.
Anyways, reel this back in.
At least mainstream
Anton,
games journalism.
Cut you off because I don't want to get into games journalism this time. As far as that's actually very interesting to hear because, like Anton said, you're the first person I've heard to actually talk about this game in any critical light. Everyone else is just like, oh my god, I love it, play it. And it's like, oh, okay.
It's a fun game. It has problems.
What do you think of the music, Colin?
It hit its right market very, very well.
So, I'm curious. They say that you can play this either touchscreen or with Joy-Con controls.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a new feature. I guess this was a completely touchscreen game before.
No.
Oh, it wasn't? Okay.
Nope, it's a completely weird game. So, bottom line, the mechanics are you, at the same time that you are doing gestures on the touchscreen, you're performing button combos with the buttons. And it's got a left and right-handed mode depending on what you want to hold and do the touchscreen with.
Oh my god, only if Kid Icarus Uprising had that.
So it's mechanically a very complicated game, and that's good, mostly.
What do you think of the soundtrack?
Very good soundtrack. pretty solid. Like I don't have anything to compare it to necessarily. It's a little off the beaten path, but I enjoyed it.
I've heard it, and it kind of sounds like Persona, but not quite.
I can see what you'd make that comparison. The
It reminds me of like, yeah, exactly. It reminds me of either that or some like early 2000s Sega game, like a Jet Set Radio or something.
Well, regardless, are you interested that they added a new scenario at all?
uh no.
Okay. Are you interested in buying this game again? Or I don't know if you bought it the first time, to be honest. But
I wouldn't. I actually do have a copy. I would not buy it again. I would encourage you to buy it though.
um,
It's an experience worth playing.
I'm definitely actually interested in playing this. So I don't know. We haven't said this in the podcast, but me and Colin will be in Japan starting like March 20th, about. Uh, and I kind of hope it comes out before then, so I can buy like a US version. But who knows? There's it just says it will release this year, which is not. That's
I mean, it's possible that you could just get the Japanese version and then it having an English in it, but that's
so.
not
I mean,
likely.
I really like physical versions, and that's the reason why. Like, if it comes out while I'm in Japan, I would just download the US version. Um,
Yeah, I'm. Yeah, my girlfriend says that she might, since she lost her original copy, she might get the Switch version.
yeah. I don't
So
know. It's really cool that it exists. Honestly.
Yeah, pretty interesting. I'm
well, it's
I'm
cool that
really
they're
wondering
just
how that one
giving.
happened. Honestly, like that game has been like dead for a long time.
Yeah, well, they even said in the direct it's been 10 years, and it's one of those games like people are like, please make a sequel to, and there's just
And it
nothing.
wasn't even a terribly popular game when it came out either. It just eventually found its market.
It got a huge cult. Yeah, it got a huge cult following where just everyone was just universally praising it.
Well, moving right along into Pokemon Tournament Deluxe DLC. I don't think we'll have a lot to say on this, but
Yeah, keep rolling.
I want to. I mean, I want to play Pokken. I mean, I've never played it. I'm interested in giving it a
this
try.
this will actually be good to
But
talk about Nintendo's DLC practices, which have been like really strong and then really shady simultaneously. So they're gonna release it in two waves. It's $15 for the entire thing. The first character is like Aegislash. Yeah, ooh, I said that Pokemon name right. Ooh, I'm excited. Anyways, Aegislash, which is it's a sword and a shield. Yay! And then in March, Blastoise is released, along with some support Pokemon for both character releases and avatar icons. Plus, they hinted at more, but they didn't really say much more. It's kind of weird when you put this in perspective because it's $15 for these two fighters. Where if you compare that to Smash, where it was $5 per character, no, it's $5 if the character included a stage, and it's just $3 if it was a character without a stage. Um, it was either three or four, I don't remember anymore. But it's kind of weird, right? Because in perspective, I would say that's actually pretty good value for Smash, even if it is a little bit pricey if you add all the characters up.
it's it's really crazy to me
This is
because
where it's like I get two more playable characters and some support stuff. I don't know. It's hard to look at this and be like, this is good. Especially like Mario Kart 8. That's another good DLC example where it was like $10 and you got like four cups. It was like, damn, that's some good DLC value. Where this is right, like, do you think this is too high? Because I definitely think this is too high. But
I think we've already kind of said too much about it, but I'm mainly just surprised that it took them this long to put Blastoise in. That was pretty surprising, but
The Blastoise is paid DLC. Fuck.
it's also
yeah,
the
that's
fact
weird.
that this game's getting DLC at all is kind of weird. Because uh,
There must be somebody playing it.
right, which
It's making the money somehow. I shouldn't say somehow it's Pokemon, but it is true. It's like even though it seems like with ARMS and Pokken, Nintendo's been trying to get a competitive community around
Except
it,
for
and they must be succeeding at some level. But
except for I would say with Arms, Arms is much more. I mean, all the DLC for Arms is free, and excuse me, I don't know what to say. It's just Pokken didn't really find an audience on Wii U.
yeah, that's interesting. Maybe it's because Namco needs to make money too, so they have it as paid DLC or something. I don't know.
You think this is Namco? Who knows? Anyways, I don't think we have much more to say other than like it's kind of pricey. Moving on.
Yeah.
Next is, man, this is probably the highlight of the direct, honestly. But Kirby Star Allies. It's Kirby. It looks adorable. It looks great. It looks
I
like
think calling it a highlight's a bit much. It does look really nice though. I'm very interested in playing it. No, I'm not very interested. I'm moderately interested in playing it. I think it could be fun.
it's one of those. It looks like kind of like a true sequel to Return to Dreamland, which honestly I think is probably one of the best Kirby games to come out. Period. So,
Do you mean Return to Dreamland?
Return to Dreamland, the Wii title.
Sorry about the sounds. You might have some editing to do. I'm just trying to limit my background noise.
Yeah, but anyways, just it's honestly a mishmash of basically a lot of Kirby ideas that we've seen before. Um, they also announced.
Yeah, it's
Huh?
I'm mainly just excited. I'm mainly just excited for a new Kirby game. Obviously, I mean we're gonna obviously be getting Kirby games no matter what, but it does look like this seems like a pretty decent mishmash of traditional classic Kirby with kind of more of a twist, which is nice. I know they've kind of been doing that recently.
Honestly, there's not much of a twist here.
Yeah.
That's one of the only complaints that everyone's like, "Oh, this game is like it's new." It's like, no, it's not. These are all ideas that have been in previous Kirby games, and they're just kind of putting it in one game this time.
I mean, I don't know.
I think Friend Train,
Swole Deity, that's a new idea.
Friend Train, the Friend Train ability, where all four of you line up. Okay, that's probably a new idea, but and the friend cartwheel. But they announced two new abilities really quick. Artist ability, which paint was already in the game, so it's kind of weird that I'm sure they're taking paint out for this.
Yeah. What was the name of the painter girl in Crystal Shards?
It wasn't it just paint. I honestly. Sorry. The character, yeah, I don't remember her name, but it's very reminiscent of that character.
That's exactly what it reminds me of. Like, if the Kirby games ever had a waifu, it'd be that she's the only real one.
No, the Kirby game in Crystal Shards, you can see Kiki in the background, or like supposedly Kiki. That's got to be the waifu.
An Easter egg is the only waifu in Kirby games.
I was like, oh, that's a cute witch. So I don't know. Anyways,
and Waddle Dee, I'm sure he could treat me well. I'm sure.
And then the second ability, Web. I'm kind of surprised whenever they add a new Kirby ability, because it's like, what, you thought of something more? But at the same time, I don't know about you guys, but this does kind of feel like bottom of the barrel. Like,
I'm really honestly waiting for a Kirby game that has mechanics that are interesting, for like mechanically more difficult to play. Because like,
it's not happening, Colin. You know.
I know. Like the last one we got was actually like Crystal Shards, and that game isn't that mechanically interesting. It just has some few fun things you can do.
I do love Crystal Shards, but I'm biased because I love all Kirby games.
Like, Kirby's good and all, but
I love that. Yeah, during the narration, there's like an unknown deep space threat is threatening Pop Star, and it's like, that's every Kirby game, bro. That's not new. When is it not unknown aliens threatening the planet?
I think that the the guy who does the voiceover for these mini directs is so goofy to me.
He has a certain voice. I'll agree to that. Uh,
Hmm.
Moving right along, Dragon Quest Builders demo. That
That seems pretty sweet. Like I didn't like I know that it's a game that's pretty old. They already have the sequel out, I believe,
I think the sequel is not
but
quite
like
out yet, but go on.
oh, but but the Switch has the benefit of being like, oh my god, I can play that anywhere, and that seems like a game that'd be really fun on the go because it's kind of just it's pretty much just Dragon Quest Minecraft in many ways, but it is,
That's precisely what it is.
but I don't know, it's really cute. Uh, I don't know, I'm just like my point of view is just that. I mean, again, I have the view where it's like I haven't played these games before because I skipped out on them. Now I can try them, but I don't know. It's just the Switch has the benefit of kind of giving games a new life and flavor due to the
You
fact
know,
that it's
this is one
portable.
narrative I don't actually agree with, where it's like now you can play these games on the go, and I don't know. I feel like Colin's just sitting on my shoulder, and it's like except for if you had a PC.
Yeah, like that's the problem that I run into is like I don't really want to play games on the go anymore at all. Full stop.
It's kind of like when I got a Switch, I bought a car charger because I'm like I'm going to be playing this on the go, and then every single time I was in a car, I was driving it. So
Right, and that's exactly what I'm getting to. It's just like, because I mean, this is the problem that I ran into with Monster Hunter 4, why I literally
right,
didn't play it past the. I don't think did I even. I might have beaten the Gormagala, and that's probably where I stopped. Uh, you just I don't want to hold this fucking thing. I want to sit down and put it on the TV and just sit on my couch. You just
But I mean, that's just that's a totally valid. Um, that's just how you consume games. Like I'm uh, a big. I kind of go about this with indie games with the Switch. There's a bunch of indie games on Steam that are on my wish list and I really want to play, but I still haven't got around to yet. But now I'm just like wanting to wait for them to come on the Switch just because of I'm just more of a portable person in general. Like it's like I can't really play an RPG on a console very well. I mean, I probably could. It's just I don't know. Guess I just get antsy when I just have to commit to a long game on the couch or something. But
I'll tell you what,
that obviously
Anton,
depends.
just so to move more along, I think I kind of get it, or like the there was this really cool moment for me where like I want to play Xenoblade 2, but I don't want to stay up and play it, and then I'm like, wait a minute, and I just picked up the Switch and went to bed and started playing Xenoblade 2, and I'm like, oh my
Hmm.
god, I can do this.
it's yeah, I've had that, but that's like due to the usefulness of the device. Like I can't even like I own a gaming laptop. I go out in public, sit down, look like a dickhead with my 15 fucking pound laptop, and then I'd like open Word and write an essay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're at different spectrums, like you're saying, Anton, like being able to just uh, take it with you. Yeah, I think you've developed a lifestyle that's more accustomed to, or like better for that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I down the line I do want to like when I do have a decent amount of expendable income, I do want to eventually um, build my own rig, like so I can play. Like I'm not gonna like I think it's amazing that Doom's on the Switch, but I would rather play that on PC.
And
like
that's another
like
issue right there. It's just like, well, anyways, you know what? We're getting a little too off track. Do you mind if we just
yeah, we
go
are.
on
But
to Hyrule Warriors?
yeah, that's fine.
So Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, I, I'm I'm like double burned on this because
Yeah, because we both have the DLC, and neither of us played much of the DLC, if any. Like,
triple burned then Colin because I bought the 3DS version because it had exclusive content that you could
right, I
transfer
forgot you
over.
did that. That's cancer.
Nat, you're the king of but Nat, you're the king of double dipping.
He really is. I'm always disgusted and impressed.
Fuck you guys.
Not anymore though. He doesn't have a job.
Shut up. I'm still double dipping. Anyways, so this is where I think me and Colin's feelings on this is pretty unanimous on this. Where I actually I shouldn't speak for you, but Hyrule Warriors is not a great game.
It's a nice, solid 4 out of 10. I enjoyed it
Oh God!
a
But
little bit.
honestly, if you're gonna play a Muso game on the Switch, or Warriors, if you haven't heard the term Muso before, for maybe our one or two listeners, but uh, Fire Emblem Warriors is a much better version. They kind of took the lessons that they learned from Hyrule Warriors and they made it better. And honestly, the Fire Emblem mold works better for Warriors.
That's
For
a
obvious
pretty
reasons.
specific game, though. Like, I mean, that
So
game, I don't know who that game appeals to, honestly. Like,
Hyrule
I mean,
Warriors or Fire
I don't
Emblem
really think
Warriors?
any.
Fire Emblem Warriors, Hyrule Warriors, I get. Hyrule Warriors, I get. Fire Emblem Warriors is just real hard to justify.
I don't.
Well, Fire
The amount of
Fire
people that
Emblem
play
has a
Fire
bigger fan
Emblem
base now.
is not nearly comparable to, like, I feel like there's a lot of other demographics they could have chosen to make a Warriors game. Like, oh yeah,
Yeah, I
hey,
mean-
Persona Warriors.
Well, it's literally just fanfare. It's really not like anything. It's literally just a fanfare game. It's not really. Because I do agree with you guys. Like, I've never really enjoyed any of the Dynasty Warriors games or any of
Actually,
these Nintendo crossovers. Like,
Colin, did you actually know me back then? I don't know. Me and my brother really got into Dynasty Warriors 4 for the PS2.
Yep.
Okay, you did play that game with us then, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Then it's just one of those, like, you can play precisely one Warriors game. And
Yeah.
you'll play the shit out of
Played
that
them all.
Warriors game, but when you're done with that Warriors game, you can never play any of them ever again. So,
They're just, yeah.
like that's a problem I have. Is just Nintendo's been doing all these Koei Tecmo crossovers, and which is
two.
fine. But
There's been
but
two.
it's- hey, that's more than we ever thought would exist.
That's
anyway.
true. Well,
Like-
actually, no. Koei Tecmo worked on Other M, so 3. There's been 3 in recent memory.
But like, they've just been pretty run of the mill, like average games anyway. Like I mean, I think I enjoyed Hyrule Wars a bit more, maybe just, but even though I only played it for probably like 5 minutes, just because we played it co-op. Because I mean, at least it has co-op, that's pretty cool. But they're just pretty monotonous, boring games anyway. So it's just kind of like, it's cool that it's on the Switch now, great. But anyway, I guess that's all we have to.
Anyways, interesting.
me anyway.
Just more interesting things. This is technically the first time that this game has had split screen multiplayer. I don't know. I thought that was kind of fun to think about.
I thought it did. Did it just have multiplayer with the game
Yeah,
and the TV screen? Or what was
the way it worked on Wii U is one player would be on the gamepad and one player would be on the TV. And for some god reason, when you did this, the resolution on the TV would drop to match the resolution of the gamepad. Do you remember that, Colin?
Oh, it sounds
Like, that was
awesome.
such a
Yeah,
weird
it
thing.
was. No, I mean, mechanically, it makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
You're rendering the. Yeah, don't worry about it. It's mechanically a dang lot easier to do.
Yeah, so I don't know, guys, like the idea of playing this game on like the Switch tablet with one Joy-Con each just does not sound like good. Like it just doesn't sound fun.
Well,
I'm not into that.
they're just very. The thing is that they're just, to me, they're not incompetently made games. They're just really monotonous. You just kind of just do the same shit. over
Oh
and
yeah,
over again.
but like
It's
that's I don't think anyone's arguing that. Like that's what these games
Yeah.
have been for years.
I think my problem, like, I don't mind. We can move on soon, but I don't mind mowing down all the mobs of guys with moves. That's pretty satisfying. It's like the moving around the map that I fucking can't stand. I think that's the part that really kind of destroys a lot of it for me, is that
I just.
navigating the map.
I don't even find it fun to just kill anything in the game. Like,
Honestly,
as a matter of like, oh god, I have to get rid of that goddamn swarm too.
I don't really want to
Yeah, it's
talk too much about Muso because it's just kind of like one of those things where
It's
it's
just-
like
a game that nobody really wanted to be re-released is now re-released, and that's fine. That happened.
And they made way too many of them.
Honestly, I'm not. I'm curious who this audience, who this is for. You know,
It has some niche. I mean, they made Gundam, which actually sounds pretty
a Gundam
cool.
one of these actually sounds pretty fun. I'd give
Yeah,
it a
I want
I
to
would
try
give it a
that.
solid try and then probably never play it again. But
Because like no one wanted Fire Emblem or Zelda Muso.
more interesting, they pitched a Star Fox Muso, and I'm just like, how would that even work?
Why?
But anyways,
Because everyone loves on foot Star Fox.
um, just content they added, like they've added all the DLC, they've added all of the 3DS exclusive content. It's all there, and they've added Breath of the Wild outfits because it's a game that released. Interestingly enough, like I'm kind of surprised that they didn't take this opportunity to add in the champions from Breath of the Wild. Like,
Well, the Breath of the Wild costumes is literally just like a skin change or a texture
yeah, it
change.
is, but I'm just saying, like, this is your chance to add in like Rivali, Daruk, Mifa, and Urbosa, and they didn't. Um,
They could have, but like I don't know. Even one character takes a lot of research and development.
that's kind of my thinking is that this game's been done for a long time, and they don't really want to reopen the development well for this.
I guess that's we can move on. But like I feel like I'm gonna be saying that way too much because I've been going on lots of tangents. But it's like this direct. I liked the fact that they have all these ports because then I benefit. But like that Nintendo's like giving us more stuff on games we don't really give a shit about anymore. I guess that's probably why people got mad. I don't know.
It's not. I mean, like Anton, like we've said, like this game is like a burn for me and Colin because we both purchased this game in the DLC. Like, it's and we
Yeah.
both agree it's not good. It's it's just one of those things that like this is a trend on Switch right now where it's one of those like it's okay if you didn't buy the Wii U because here's some of our best games on the Wii U with more content.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to watch that because as a Wii U owner, that's kind of like, oh, I mean, look at like,
Well, Nintendo acknowledged.
but I mean, count it on your fingers. There's Mario Kart, like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, right? Um,
Hmm.
God, there was another Switch port last year, wasn't there? I can't even remember. But like Bayonetta, Bayonetta 2, this game, Donkey Kong, which we'll get to in a minute. Um, what other port was there? There was another port, wasn't there?
Um, I want to say there was another port aside from Mario Kart 8 last year,
I
but
guess you
that's
could
on the tip
count
of my tongue.
Zelda
I'm like, I
because
have no
that's
idea.
technically a Wii U game.
No, that doesn't
It
count.
totally counts. It's a Wii U game that they ported to Switch.
But people remember it as more of a Switch
That's
game.
true.
It was designed
It came out at the same
for
time.
Wii U though.
It was designed for Wii U.
That's true, I guess.
So it's just
Um,
it's this trend of like, it's like this exodus from the Wii U. It's like, oh shit, this didn't sell well. Let's just throw it all in the new console. And
well, it makes sense from a business standpoint.
Splatoon, that's kind of a port, not really, but it's almost there.
Splatoon 2.
Um, it's just it's this idea that um, you're kind of getting burned if you're a Wii U owner.
Right.
No, I totally get that. I'm sure it
Anyway, let's move on.
sucks. Made your first world ass.
Moving on, Mario Tennis Aces.
Yeah, it has a story mode. That's kind of what I wanted for one of these nonsense games for a long time. I'll
Yeah.
probably play it.
Well, haven't they not really made a good Mario Tennis game since the
Well,
GameCube?
here's the thing. I don't know if either of you looked into Ultra Smash on Wii U.
Nope.
It had precisely.
I would have played it with you, but we didn't.
It had. I bought the game. It has one court. It doesn't have much detail, and there's like. I don't remember how many playable characters, but not that many. And this already looks like they put more effort into it. um, because
Yeah, I mean that was a surprising thing just with the story mode. Like that gets me intrigued. Like that gets me like, oh, maybe I'll give it a shot. I don't
it's
know.
been a long
Cause
time. It's been a long time.
I remember really enjoying the GameCube Mario Tennis. I remember that was actually really fun.
Um, well, anyways, it's been a long time since they've put effort into a Mario sports title. So
Like, well, not just Mario sports titles, but there's a lot of titles that Nintendo lately have just been just willy nilly throwing out a new game without any effort, and everyone recognizes how shitty it is, and it's really surprising because it's like they've stopped giving a shit about Mario Party, they've stopped giving a shit about the Mario sports games. You know,
there's
it's
there's a
like
reason for Mario Party, but that's a different discussion for a different time. Just moving on to Yeast 8. I didn't know this game existed.
that's pretty sweet.
It is a thing. Its aesthetic is it looks very similar to Xenoblade, and then a cutscene starts.
Yeah, honestly, that's what I was getting heavy vibes off of. Is like this looks a lot like Xenoblade.
Well, do you guys know about Ys? It's like a very very long running RPG series back in the 80s, from the 80s. Yeah.
See, this is why I'm glad you know about this JRPG that I'd never heard about before. So
You never you never heard
no,
of
I've
Ys?
never heard of
Then again, I
those.
guess I'm more of the I guess I know more about the older games, but like yeah, Ys is like this long running action RPG series. It started on the Sega Master System. Um, I mean, there's eight of them. You know, it's a yeah. It's mainly been on Sega systems. Uh,
No, that explain
yeah, the
why
first one
I'd
was on
never heard
Sega
of it
Masters.
because I
Yeah, it's mainly been on Sega systems, but there actually was one of them that came out on the Super Nintendo, and after that, I'm not sure. They've just been. I think they've been on PlayStation afterwards, but
anyways,
anyway, long running series, and it's
it
cool. I hear it's really
it looks interesting. I might be tempted to give it a shot. It comes out this summer. Um,
Um, I hear it's one of the best in the series. Like I hear there's a guy I follow on YouTube who's a huge Yeast fan, and he says like this is one of the best in a long time. Like, and he recommends like he's been playing since the 80s. He's like over 40 years old, and um, he recommends people who want to get into the series to do this one. Like I hear good things about it. So
that's cool to hear. But moving on. So what happened? Luigi's Balloon World.
That is a thing.
It's I was disappointed when I played through all of Odyssey and Luigi was nowhere to be found.
Well, I think
I thought he was gonna be. I thought he was playable. He's not playable or
No,
anything.
he doesn't even appear in the game.
That's weird because I mean the Galaxy games, he's there and you can play as him after you beat
Right,
them.
like that's kind of what I was expecting. I was expecting kind of like 3D World or Galaxy, where like Luigi's there, um, and you can play as him, but it's definitely more of a Mario game, right? Um,
I still have yet to play Odyssey extensively. I need to get it, but correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to be very sparse of its typical cast.
it's what?
Sparse, like it doesn't really have many of the doesn't have a lot of characters that are well. I gotta rephrase it better.
Oh,
Doesn't have
like
a
the
lot of
core Mario
typical
cast.
Mario characters. Yeah, exactly.
I want to say like absolutely, except for Poochie of all characters is in the game.
But not Luigi. Yeah, that's
It's
weird.
so
Isn't
bizarre
he more of a
seeing
Yoshi
like
character?
first of all, this is the first time I think Poochie's been rendered in 3D and not stylized like Yarn. Um, so it's kind of like, oh, that's what Poochie looks like. But secondly, like,
and you got to be careful though. Like it's interesting, but like if Poochie's there, Dio's there.
oh my God, Colin. Anyways, anyways, the thing about this mode is it.
Was that a JoJo's
Shut up.
reference?
Anyways, we're moving on.
Fucking
I'm not acknowledging it. We're moving on.
yeah. Let's keep moving.
The shut up. Anyways, moving on. The what was this?
That
Like
is so
this
interesting.
really does feel like the balloon world does feel like an extra mode that maybe
I
was it?
mean, it's a free update. Looks like it could be fun. I think we'll have to wait to try it out to really get a good idea, though.
Yeah.
That's the thing is that it's free, so it's not like we can't really like be like like.
No, I mean my complaint about this is that why wasn't this included at launch?
It seems very like it seems not very hard to implement like at launch. Yeah.
But regardless, new outfits. The sunshine outfit, hooray! It looks really weird
I,
in Odyssey.
how many people have said like Mario Dark Souls with the
Oh,
right
that
yet? I'm
Well,
sure
we already
everybody.
knew. Like, we already knew it was Dark Souls World, and then they added Knight Armor. It's like, it is Dark Souls World.
honestly, I called it the Lodran special when I saw it. I'm like, oh, it's Lodran armor.
I do love all of his outfits. It's really
There's
adorable.
a musician hat and outfit. It honestly just looks like a suit and tie, but it's fine. Uh, and then new filters for the.
Another racial stereotype. Just kidding. I don't know.
Moving on.
I was trying to be funny.
I missed something.
You didn't miss anything. It's fine.
Next thing on the list was SNK Heroines Tag Team Frenzy. What is?
Don't you dare say anything, Nat. Don't you dare say anything about me in this.
Oh, I was going to say something, but
Fucking weeaboo.
no, it's not. It's not
Shut up, Colin.
that Anton's a weeaboo. It's that Anton can't resist the booty or the boobs.
I am. I think it's funny is that you call me the weeb, but I am the least weeb out of all of you.
I don't know about that, dude.
Tell it to my fucking body pillow, faggot.
The SNK Heroines. Who is this game for?
It's pronounced Daki Makata. Anyway,
We're moving on from the Dakimakura, dude. Who's this game for? Like, I'm sure someone out there is excited for this, but
I think
it's
this
just
game is for Japan, and it's just also we now know about it.
okay. I
That's, I don't
honestly,
know.
well, you
I
guys
kind of
aren't-
want to
you
give it a
guys
try because I've always kind of wanted to get into a fighting game, and I hear SNK is really hard to get into, and this seems like a simplified version.
Well, because the Capcom fighters are complex, but they're fairly accessible. I hear that SNK's fighters have a lot more nuance, like King of Fighters and stuff.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's one of those like I'm gonna go ask Mario what he thinks because he's the one who's actually played those games. Uh,
I want to act. Well, this is me because so I have a Neo Geo Pocket Color, and it's
did you actually know the game they were talking about when they were like, "And this character comes from this game"?
well, yeah, like because so SNK did the Neo Geo, then they did the Neo Geo Pocket Color, which is a portable Game Boy esque thing. I have one, and um, it's like it has the best like uh portable fighting games of the time because it came out in the Game Boy Advance era, and it has it's fantastic for like little fighting games. They have Street Fighter on there. They have SNK versus
So,
Capcom, which is called Match of the Millennium.
Interrupt,
But anyway,
like we're gonna move on.
no, well, no, I really want to quickly say this though that this game seems like it's an homage to another Neo Geo Pocket Color game called Gal Fighters, where you play as all the female SNK characters. So it's like it's literally that, but like new. That's what I immediately thought of because I'm like, oh hey,
Oh, that is
this
interesting.
is like they had to have been, because like it's the same exact thing. Like all the SNK girls duking it out, but it came out 20 plus years earlier.
Interesting, actually. Yeah. All right. Well, Mario plus Rabbids DK DLC.
That's
So,
awesome.
Yeah, that's
I think it's
interesting.
pretty rad.
I need that Donkey Kong in my XCOM with Rabbids.
Yeah. The problem I have with this, I do actually have a slight problem, and it's not really about this game. It's about the character DK. So there's like Gorilla DK, which is like the Smash DK, where it's just like he's an ape,
Yeah, he's yeah.
and then there's the like I don't know caricature DK, where it's just like what are you?
He's like the big brother. It's like, hey, how's it
But
going?
like you know what I mean? Like the noises he makes. The like, are you like a man in a monkey suit or?
Yeah.
Oh, it's kind of like with Melee, how like
Yeah, that's Gorilla DK.
Uh,
That's he's a gorilla.
Bowser was like clearly just this dragon lizard thing, and then they actually made him more like his normal self in Smash 4.
But in Smash 4, DK is still a gorilla. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
anyways, I don't know.
Like,
I feel like they should give.
DK Country DK is a bit more has a bit more personality.
I would say DK Country is actually kind of a mix
So-
between the two.
The thing I was more interested in, we'll get to it. So, forget it.
Okay.
Payday 2.
Yeah, that's really, really interesting. Actually, that this game is now on Switch. The devs for Payday 2 are some weird fuckers. Their desire to just put this game everywhere is really quite admirable, and it's not a bad game. It's okay. I enjoy it. I know why other people enjoy it, but
I was more
I have some
curious,
friends that really enjoy it.
yeah, you're right. He did put this game everywhere, and it's just like, why? The only thing that I can nitpick about this is that you can only play Payday 2 on Switch with other Switch users.
which is expected.
That was a bit of a blow.
Unfortunate. The game is really grim too, so like the whole situation is interesting. Like it's a really aggressive game to put on a Nintendo console.
Nintendo's been pretty lenient about that over the years.
After
mean,
Doom
even-
on Switch, I
Yeah.
think the floodgates open. So
No, I mean I guess that's fair, but like it's still an interesting like situation.
it's cool that they highlighted.
World.
Mad World
Yeah, but
on Wii.
it's cool that they highlighted HD Rumble. Like, oh hey, look, third parties are actually using this. Anyways, that'll be coming out February 27th for those who are interested.
Yeah. It is disappointing that it doesn't have cross-platform, because apparently Rocket League is the only one that does that so far, and that's like amazing. I don't get it why not more people are doing that, but anyway.
I'm all for cross-platform play, but if
It's
it
just
doesn't
really
have
hard
It's
to
only a
manage,
win.
honestly.
if it doesn't have cross-platform play, like I can't complain. It is what it is.
Yeah. Probably just depends on how the game is set up. So
I imagine there's always the big factor. Like if someone has a mouse, they're just going to be better.
that's true, because I guess Rocket League doesn't really matter.
Rocket League, it wouldn't matter. So moving on, there's two. I think these are both from EA, but they're like they're smaller divisions, and that is Faye and Celeste. Faye.
I've heard of Celeste. I saw like the dev tweeting it out. It's like, hey, my game's almost done, and it actually looks pretty cool.
Celeste does look cool.
Yeah, Faye looked interesting. For sure.
It looked like Ori and the Blind Forest, kind of.
Yeah,
That's what
I
it
got
reminded
like
me of.
almost flower vibes from it, honestly.
Very artsy.
Yeah, definitely.
Celeste kind of looks like almost like a Meat Boy clone. I don't know. That's what it looked like to me. So.
Looks like a very nuanced, challenging indie game.
And moving right along, DK Tropical Freeze Switch port.
So
Honestly,
how about that Funky Kong?
Why didn't
yeah,
you put the first one packed in with it?
that's what everyone's kind of complaining about. And honestly,
yeah.
Tropical Freeze is. I'm gonna get flack from this, but I think it's kind of a forgettable game.
I played most of the game. I don't remember even like launching it.
I would say Returns is actually.
You don't even remember buying it.
I don't
and playing
remember
it.
why I own a copy of the game. That's accurate.
You own that game?
Yeah, I own that game. I played like halfway through it.
Did I give? I remember I gave you like a lot of Wii U games for Christmas one year. Maybe that was one.
No, I don't think you gave it to me. It's just
Okay.
one that yeah.
I'm surprised that you have that opinion about it, Nat, because it's Donkey
Yeah,
Kong,
but
which is like one of your
but
favorites.
it's still not like.
So this is what I'll say. Overall, I like Returns probably a little bit more because I can actually remember more of that game. And what I'll say about Tropical Freeze is the bonus levels is where that game shines because they're so goddamn hard, and it's precisely what Donkey Kong Country is all about. Is it's on full display in those bonus levels, and I would say that World 2 and 3 are memorable and they're fun, but like everything after World 3 is really hard to remember.
I do agree. Like I had, I mean, I haven't played Tropical Freeze, so I can't have that opinion about that game. But I played. I had the first returns for the Wii, and I didn't play very much of it before I got rid of it. And like, I do agree that like there's not much that I remember even with the little bit I played of it.
I actually
It,
disagree. I think Returns is actually kind of a memorable game, but uh,
they're not bad games, so from
no,
what I
they're
see,
really good.
With
But
that, those are the ones that I put a lot more time into. Jungle Climber, I think.
Jungle Climber is such an interesting game.
Yeah. Man, probably a conversation for a different time, but I do like how Nintendo has a good habit of like with the Donkey Kong games, like, yo, what's that? You want bonus levels? All
We'll
right,
give you
here's
bonus levels.
it's we have a bring your own lube policy.
Yeah. So, Funky Kong, let's talk about the monkey in the room.
Can we talk about how fucking swole that guy is?
What the hell? It's just
disgustingly OP.
it's just every character combined into one character, and he can't get hurt.
it's like he's invincible. Oh, he can do this too. Oh, he can like.
Why is Donkey Kong going on these quests? Apparently, Funky Kong can kind of do everything for him.
He's too funky with his monkey junkie.
Well, he's too busy making, doing DJ stuff,
Sure.
And like smoking lots of pot and listening to vaporwave and
Doing
like,
ASMR,
stupid.
ASMR. He's doing ASMR.
He's doing ASMR. I do
The
love me a good supportive and caring Funky Kong.
it's just ridiculous, but this has spawned one of my fave memes currently, and I'm sure it'll disappear pretty soon. But in the box art for Tropical Freeze for Switch, it's the same box art, but in the corner it's like now includes Funky Kong, and
And Knuckles.
Did you check Twitter recently about that? Someone
someone
tweeted out is like, and then like the people behind Doom, the official Doom Twitter made one with Funky.
yeah. So like someone's like, okay, here you go. You can now use this and put it in box arts of games, and Bethesda, the Doom Twitter feed. It's just like, all right, done.
That's what I was saying. It's just the and Knuckles meme again, which is
It
a good
is.
meme. Like, I do like it.
It'll probably
how much it blew up.
It'll probably
It's everywhere.
probably be dead in a week. But anyways,
I don't know. It's like bigger than most memes. It's like
It's
caught
not
on like
lasting. There's no
way.
way.
Oh, okay. And now we have Colin with the meme forecast. How long is this meme gonna last, Colin?
I'd give it it's got a good chance of lasting through the weekend. Its chances are partly cloudy.
This has been the Dankcast with Colin. What's the level of dankiness? Is it gonna last through the weekend? Is it light showers?
It's probably got a dude
wear a
wee,
raincoat,
but it's
folks.
not quite making the de la Mao.
I just want to see you with like a just a suit and tie, just like being like, okay, and then you have your pointer and you're just like pointing like random bullshit.
That might be a fun video. I could make it happen.
last announcement. I mean, Nintendo knew what they were doing. It's a question mark. They're like, oh, what could it be? Something wicked is coming your way, which is, I think, what they used for Bayonetta, but never mind.
Yeah, and then the fucking first flame, like, what?
Honestly, Colin, I'm glad you're here, because when I was watching this on my phone in bed when I woke up,
Right? I did that.
it was so dark on my phone. I'm like, well, it's really
Same
dark.
problem. And
So
it-
it's probably from software. It's probably from software because it's a dark trailer.
I knew it was dark.
I knew it was Dark Souls right away. I was like, oh, Dark Souls,
but-
Dark Souls Switch. I knew it.
So it's completely dark, and I just see a few embers, and I'm like, oh, it's Dark Souls because there's a few embers in what looks like a pile of ash, maybe. Oh, look, it was. Like,
Oh man, I'm happy to see this a lot though.
It's interesting that this was the first Was this the first real announcement of the remaster, or was that announced
It was
earlier?
it was
But I'm
heavily hinted at that they would do a remaster of the original, and I think 2 and 3 have both kind of like been re-released in some form or another. So
they're coming out with the trilogy on PS4, I think.
no, I don't think they've said anything about the trilogy. So
Yeah, I haven't heard
It
anything
kind of
about
like
that
flew
yet,
under the
but,
radar when remastered got announced.
No, the thing with the Dark Souls remastered, I'm really excited for is I will have to buy it on Switch.
oh,
I've
I
been
was going to ask you
absolutely
about that.
longing for it. I've been so sad that I haven't had any ability to just bully people for hours on end in a video game. Just disgustingly, like, I'm going to ruin your week. Like, that's like just hours on end. Like, oh, you're trying to co-op with your buddy? I'm just going to kill both of you repeatedly, nonstop. Like, it doesn't. You don't get that chance anymore. And it's in my and I got to do a little bit in Dark Souls 3. Just like invade in the first area.
Colin likes to masturbate alone.
Yeah, buddy. Like,
So
no, genuinely, just like the thing with that game is any excuse for that game to have a reason for new players to play it is the best time to play it as any player. Because you get the
Oh,
new
yeah, that makes total
experience all
sense.
over. Like, as a new player, you'll get the experience better. One of the things that you can't get from Dark Souls right now is if you start playing that game, you'll miss out on any multiplayer mechanics, which were very heavily built into the game. Like, I think that getting viciously murdered by some dickhead invader is one of the best things that can happen to you as a player. Because when you finally kill that motherfucker when he invades you, and you get to take his humanity instead, it's like a fine wine. It's aged and ready.
Is it more that you're not you're kind of like, oh, that's cool. You're not like totally hyped that it's on the Switch per se. You're just kind of excited that there's new players that you get to
That I get to bully.
dick
That's
around
definitely
with.
a lot of it. I've wanted Dark Souls on Nintendo for a long time anyway, though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
So-
sure Nat can tell you about that.
no, I mean we were talking about Dark Souls Kart for a long time. Uh,
Play it.
It's
All
canon now.
shells are blue.
I'll shelter blue. But what
Would he ride the Capper Demon on his for his car,
Yeah, he's just.
or was he just would he just
scurrying
or would he
along
just
this
ride like a
vicious
big
beast.
like smoldering? Would he just ride a big smoldering pile of ash and he's just like, ah, shit, and it just
Wait,
like
they just give him a car.
goes apart and he
Like,
dies.
they give him like a Miata, paint it black.
I mean they have a Mercedes Benz in a
Oh God, they do.
Mario
I
Kart 8
forgot about
now.
that.
I think a lot of people forgot about that. But anyways,
it was just this random free DLC.
what I wanted to ask Colin while I have you here, because Colin is like, oh, Colin likes World Ends with You, and he loves Dark Souls, and those are our bookends. So this is great. What I wanted to ask you about is, one, are you gonna play? Are you gonna play on Switch?
Yeah.
Okay. Two, are you also gonna double dip on PC for the remaster?
Yeah, I probably am. I think I'm gonna buy
Well,
it
Dark
both
Souls-
times. I have to
You
get
can
the
replay
remaster
that
on
game
PC
so many times, right?
because then I can record myself bullying people on PC. But I need the Switch version. That way I can bully people in bed.
Yeah, but also imagine, I mean, Colin, we're gonna be in Japan when this game comes out.
I can bully Japanese people while I'm in bed. While I'm in
Yeah,
my
there's a Japanese-made
futon
game,
or
so-
whatever.
It's
My
futon,
futon.
asshole.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my god.
Yeah, fuck.
What? That's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to ask. For sure, you were talking about when I was playing Dark Souls. I was at the tail end. And I played Demon Souls first, and that was even more at the tail end.
Yeah, that's rip. No PvP, never happening.
I've
Apparently,
always been
Lost
worried.
would happen though, right?
I mean, yeah, I've always been wary about this element of Dark Souls because I don't want to get stuck in some area because some dickhole is stopping me.
So you're never going to get stuck though because you can't be invaded while undead. The only people who you as the player get a chance to ruin their day is if they're in human form because they want to do something like PvP.
Right. So, I mean, once I understood that, it was kind of like a non-concern. But even when I was doing it with Demon Souls, I think I got maybe like 2 encounters. And And then with Dark Souls, I don't even remember if I did get an encounter. I was playing on PS3 at the time, so
You had a stick though.
um, this is also something you said I should play the DLC sometime.
God,
This
yes.
this will be my opportunity to, because it's
Yes,
included.
the DLC has two of my three favorite bosses in the game. So
Oh wow, two. That's cool.
yeah, they did a really good job with the DLC for Dark Souls 1. I really wanted to play. They've actually done a really good job with all the DLC, from what I understand. But I've never actually played the DLC for Dark Souls 2 or 3.
You've never played For Sin or
The DLC that they had for 3 looked really interesting.
Yeah, the DLC for 3 looks amazing. I just literally never got back to the game.
It's so interesting. It's because, like, you and Miss Lee both, it's just like, oh, yeah, I love Dark Souls 3. And I'm like, okay, are you going to play again? Nah. I'm like, oh, all right. So, you've explained it to me before, but it's just one of those things as as an outsider. It's like, you've played Dark Souls how many times? And you've played Dark Souls 3 how many times? And
Yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of numbers. It's because I played Dark Souls so much that I don't want to play Dark Souls 3 again. Not that I don't even want to. Like, if I like had a controller in my hands and that was the game I was launching, I'd be like down. Like if that was like if I was legitimately like holding my controller and on my screen I was looking at Steam and it's like Dark Souls 3 is highlighted, I'd probably click that play button and start going. But to get to that point, like that requires more interest than I have.
okay.
Is that your least favorite of the 3?
Dark Souls 3 is
are you
by
kinda
far the
still
best game in the series. It does rely on you having played the first game at least to get the highest level of enjoyment out of the game, but
Yeah, I know
that
that,
doesn't
like-
really work too well, because one of the things about a Souls game is that the fact you've never played it
exactly.
because the games that's one of the series' brightest points, is that they're filled with things that games aren't supposed to do, and that's unique and surprising, and that really makes the experience a lot tighter for a lot of situations.
I should not be killing a bug while I'm recording, but regardless, that's actually one of the things I wanted to bring up is you and Voss had told me so much about Dark Souls that when I played Demon Souls before I played Dark Souls, I actually liked Demon Souls and still do a lot more because it was just fresh. I didn't know what was going on.
Also, at the time, you consistently expressed never having interest in playing the game.
That's true.
For the record.
I've always kind of just been like, one day I will play it but
I'm just going to throw out spoilers to somebody who I think is going to play it.
Honestly, Anton, you're like my brother, where it's like, you may play it, but it's one of those things I know that it wouldn't interest you that much.
I don't care about spoilers, honestly. But
No, we actually haven't really been talking we haven't really said anything specific for either game, so.
Well, I mean, I know that it's kind of that other game where I'm like, yeah, I'll play it, and I want to, and then it'll be like 5 years later still played it. Like, I totally get that, and it's totally possible, but I don't know, it's just, Dark Souls to me has been weird. Like, I played it on the PS3 a bit, and I remember my friend because like, there was a period in time where like all my friends were just into it, because it was the game forever and ever, and I remember just us spending like 3 hours trying to kill this one guy at the very beginning of the game that's on the top of that tower, and then I was just like, oh my god. Like, the only way to kill him is like to parry him and shit. But I don't know. I don't know if it's just not my kind of game, but I'd want to try to get back into it. I've always...
Dark Souls lets you go the wrong way. It expects you to be smart enough to realize, I got fucked when I went that way. Maybe I should have gone this other way.
It's true. I guess maybe to tie it back into...
Depending.
I've always loved the art direction.
But it doesn't really matter. You can do a lot in that game.
Maybe I just kind of get like hipster about it, where I'm like, because everybody I know fucking like jizz their pants over that game.
So
I don't know.
The bottom line is, it really is that your first Souls experience is probably going to be your best one. I can't say for sure about Dark Souls 2, because that's just not a good Souls game.
Everyone hates it.
It's a good game. It's not. It doesn't do anything that the other games didn't do far better.
Doesn't that just betray a lot of the things that made Dark Souls for a lot
It's
of people?
got a lot of just core game making problems. The direction was just bad, and that's really the only thing that matters.
Let me
Wasn't
try.
that
Let me
Miyazaki
try
either,
actually, because I was there and I've actually heard Colin talk about this so many times that I think I can recite the problems of Dark Souls 2. One, it got a little full of itself in that it was like this game will kill you, so the game did actually force you to die in several points and did try actively to kill you in certain scenarios, which isn't something Souls ever did before. It was always in Souls like the world is dangerous, and this game is like the world
It's your
is
fault for dying, right?
what?
Like, it was more like it was your fault for dying. Like you could have done better, right?
It was kind of like this is a dangerous world, and but you could get around it. In Souls 2, it's kind of like the world is out to kill you, and there's some times where it's not going to be fair and it will kill you. And then there's in Souls, it's actually one giant map that's interconnected, and when you realize that, that's really damn cool. In Souls 2, it's kind of like you go in one direction and then you split out into five, was it five? I think it was five separate lines, but they don't really connect to each other. And visually speaking, they also don't connect to each other. Like you'll go in one direction and what you should see is not what you actually see. um,
Yeah.
and
Was it? Did it just kind of miss a lot of the
it's
little
it's
things that made Dark
It's
Souls
not
special?
the little things. It's like the core game direction was wrong.
yeah.
Mm.
And
Like the importance of having an interconnected world as opposed to like what, a whole bunch of hallways leading to a dead end.
the
Like, as
spoke
opposed to
system.
that.
Was it?
Yeah,
The
it's-
spoke
Was it
system.
more segmented?
Yeah, because like in Dark Souls, you'd like be walking through an area and you're like, oh, this sucks. I don't know where I am. And you'd open a door and you'd be like, I'm back, goddamn here again.
Yeah.
And that was great.
So another example is in Dark Souls 2, there is more checkpoints and less shortcuts. In Dark Souls, it was all about unlocking that huge shortcut that led you back to that central bonfire.
Yeah, so like you don't even have warping for a very, very, very long time in Dark Souls. And you have it from the start in Dark Souls 2 because the game development of Dark Souls 2 requires that you have it immediately.
Yeah, so just
Do a lot of people? I know that wasn't done by Miyazaki. Didn't direct
Correct.
2, so I don't. Do a lot of people kind of blame that?
I'm
Or-
sure that's it. It's they were too gung ho on certain specific ideals, and they just did it wrong. It's the difference between a good and a bad dungeon master in D&D. Just like you have the DM who's like, I can set up all these interesting scenarios for you, and then you have the DM who's like, how can I kill my players today?
yeah.
Was it? Yeah. Was it more like TBK? I want that, but it was. Would you say it was like because he was working on Bloodborne while they were making Dark Souls 2,
Yeah,
right?
Bloodborne came out pretty goddamn good.
I don't. Are you sure
Yeah,
about that? Bloodborne was much later, after Dark Souls 2.
It was about a year.
Oh, was it? Okay. I guess my timeline is kind of skewed, but
I remember
Well, I
because
think-
a few
I think it's
different
because-
people made that like retarded statement like the Dark Souls is becoming a once a year franchise now. And it's like, no, just shut up. You're just wrong. It's a different game.
Well, it came out at the tail end of the 360 PS3 era. I think that's probably why it seems like a long time ago.
yeah. I don't know what to say other than like, yeah, Bloodborne's really good. So
I'm waiting for that Kingsfield Forio.
Oh,
I
hell
want
yeah.
Armored Core. Give me Armored Core back.
I want
There's a
Adventures of
Kingsfield 4. I
Cookies
want
and
that
Cream,
Kingsfield
bitch.
5.
I want the Adventures of Cookies and Cream right now.
Fucking
for
Cookies and
software.
Cream. I played that game. It's not good. It's not a good game.
I heard it was actually not bad.
It's so slow. It's lazy. It's a lazy game.
We should probably let's tie this to the direct so we can finish up.
Anyways, as a director overall, I want to ask you guys because after I went through this and I'm like, they didn't really clarify what their year looks like with this direct.
Well, I think it was probably like a mini little appetizer just to get wet people's appetite for E3
Oh,
potentially.
okay. that
But-
idea. The mini
Just
in
'cause-
the title of the direct or
Yeah, it's just okay. So
Yeah.
the
I
fact that it
kind
actually has
of
a mini direct.
kind of agree, but I think this actually is kind of leading to a Nintendo Direct that will happen in February or March.
That's likely.
Nintendo never does anything for E3 that's particularly overboard or special. Like they actually do put a lot more work into the directs.
I would say their E3 is a little more special than usual. I mean, you don't get Metroid Prime 4 announced in a Direct. You get it announced at the E3 Direct. Uh,
I think they could potentially. Well, lately E3 for them has kind of been like their one big showcase game to kind of shop around.
yes and no. I think they only did that for Zelda. I mean, yes, with Mario Odyssey, it was kind of like that, but I mean, like I just said, Metroid Prime 4 was also announced that show, and Metroid Samus Returns was announced that show, and I can't remember, but a handful of other games were also, like Kirby and Yoshi were both announced at that show. Like, you know, there was more than
I still
there was
think
more than just Odyssey.
Yeah, I mean, for trolling people online, which something Nintendo doesn't really do until now, it was pretty cool. Like I'm grateful that we even like got something, even though it was mainly there wasn't anything really big. Like the biggest thing is just Dark Souls on Switch, but that was kind of already predicted in the future, considering they already confirmed they had associations with From
I
Software.
don't actually think Dark Souls on the Switch was the biggest thing. I think Kirby was.
I think you're really overblowing Kirby just because you like it.
I I disagree with you, Nat. Like, I'm surprised that that's what you think.
I think that
I forgot that Kirby was even
because that's what people walk away
announced
from.
in it immediately.
it's
Like,
one of those.
like the second I finished that mini direct, that Kirby game was not even in my mind anymore.
Like everyone's thinking about Dark Souls, right?
Yeah,
like that's the
everyone's
big
thinking
thing.
about Dark
Everyone's like
Souls.
Dark Souls on Switch.
But I think Dark Souls is more of a gaming like people are excited that game's getting remastered, not necessarily that it's on Switch.
I think it's because it's on Switch. It was in the Nintendo Direct. I mean, I think it's cool that the Switch is getting the remaster version, not just a port,
Oh man,
of like the Prepare to Die edition.
getting the PS3 game on the Switch. No, that would have been. Everyone's getting the remaster except for the Switch, who's getting the PS3 game.
Honestly, I bet Mario Tennis Aces is going to be a more popular game than Kirby anyway.
Ouch. Shots fired.
I'm probably going to enjoy it more too, to be fair.
Oh wow.
I think maybe to kind of just tie this in, I think it's huge for Nintendo to have Dark Souls on their system. I just think like that alone is like a huge milestone we thought they'd never get to for a long time anyway.
Probably a little less surprising than Bayonetta, but yeah, it's up there.
I kind of agree and disagree. I think the benchmark, I think they're working towards it. But when we get GTA on the Switch, I think that will be the okay, gloves are off, anything can be on here.
But we have LA Noire, which is like the closest thing. Like Rockstar is actually
It is,
like
but
GTA 5.
Still
what
full-on uncensored hentai for Switch.
Not exactly where I was going, but what I meant is that
HD Rumble.
GTA is
That's the real HD Rumble. That's the real reason.
Real HD Rumble.
Koizumi just like is in the office. He's like, "Hey guys, I gotta do an HD Rumble," and everyone's like, "Oh, okay." Oh, so this name.
You guys are just as bad as my other friends. But what I was going is GTA is kind of the benchmark of this will never be on Nintendo consoles because it's just too violent and too obscene and too blah 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 whatever else, right?
Well, like you don't think of. I mean, it's that I do agree with you. That's probably gonna be like the benchmark. Like, oh shit, Nintendo's not changing the new leaf, but like third parties are now like seeing the potential of the Switch. But like, I think Dark Souls is pretty damn close because it's
I think because of Colin, I've always kind of associated Dark Souls could actually jive pretty well on a Nintendo console if they ever give it a shot.
I might
guess
be a
so,
weirdo,
'cause-
but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people like me who are interested in playing games on PC because that's the most optimal way to play most games that come out because they're mostly shooters and games that really do benefit from a keyboard and mouse. And then everything
Well, and
else
the
I play on a
fidelity,
Nintendo
so-
console because it's not going to come to PC.
That's
Yeah, exactly.
true.
Like,
Like
There
Dark
are
Souls.
some games.
like Dark Souls.
there there is some games on the PS4 that actually I do want to
There was
play.
Bloodborne.
I just
There
don't
was
want to get.
Bloodborne.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's
And
like
that's why
it's like-
the PS4 is really dusty right now, Nat.
And I
It's,
I
it's
do
not.
wanna play-
It's not with me.
Yeah. You know it's dusty though.
for how weird it's gonna be. Death Stranding does seem pretty interesting, just because I like Kojima and I'm excited to see him doing
Kojima.
something else.
I side opinion. Like I'm just waiting for. I'm
Tangent,
just
but-
waiting for Kojima to announce that Death Stranding is actually a movie.
Yeah, he's like, "Psych, guys."
Well, like, what's the gameplay? Does anyone know what that gameplay is like? No.
I like the fact
He's
that
gonna be
that
like, it's a
8-minute
mobile-
trailer made the game even more confusing.
Yeah, no one knows what that game's gonna play like. That's why I'm like, it's just a movie. He hasn't announced it yet, but
Yeah, the funny thing about to tie this in, like the funny thing about PC is that it's made Xbox irrelevant for the past like decade.
this is I didn't know this until like a month ago, but Anton just like went off on a tangent like Xbox sucks. Why would anyone have that? And I'm like, whoa, I had no idea you had this like Xbox hatred.
I don't. I just am like, what's the point?
I mean,
It's like Cuphead's an exclusive. It's like, no, it's still on Steam.
yeah, their
baby.
games, like market is just not. It's, like the game economy on Xbox is just a dumpster fire. Like, I don't want to touch that.
It's like, I don't know. I understand for people that like, there's people that like don't want to have. They don't really care for the PC experience. And they just want a box they can just plug into their TV and play games in, and that's totally
But the
fair,
Xbox seems like
it's
the
not for
worst
me.
option. Honestly.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, like the only
Anyway.
excuse that you could possibly give me where I'd be like, all right, maybe, is like, well, I wanted to play Forza with a wheel, but it's hard to do that on PC because it costs a lot of money to have a PC that can support the games to look as decent as they do on Xbox in the context, that fucking nonsense. Because it, like, the fucking
Counter argument.
it's fucking nonsense though, because those games
Well,
are at
it's-
30 FPS anyway on the Xbox. But
Counter argument, Colin. How
the
much is
weird
an
thing-
Xbox One X with Forza and a racing wheel?
that's a great question. How much is it? Like $600 for the console? Some nonsense like that. For $600, I can build a rig with a 980 Ti. Fuck it, you're right. I'm wrong. Yeah, yep. There's literally no reason for that console to exist.
Like the only exclusives that Xbox has ever had that like it's an actual exclusive, not like, oh, it's on Xbox and PC. It's just like Halo, Gears, and Forza, I think, are like the only three. It's like
Forza's on Windows 10
And-
now, though. So
Forza and from my understanding,
say, Gears and
it
Halo
was
have
a
always been
good
the-
time.
from my understanding and talking to Nick, who is actually a really big Halo fan, Halo 4 was not great, and then Halo 5 kind of killed the series in the water. So
That's a shame.
well, like it's weird because it's like Halo 5 came out and no one gave a shit. Like I didn't hear any hype for that
I didn't
game.
know there was a
It's
Halo
like
5.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly my point. I'm like
I actually
like,
did
no
know
one gave a
because
shit.
I was at the midnight release, working the midnight release, and they gave us Master Chief masks to wear. It was a good time.
I mean, that's yeah. Once in a while, you get a fun time.
Well,
with
anyway.
those midnight releases.
After further tangents,
Oh,
yeah,
I'm excited.
it's fun to have tangents. Who cares? This is our podcast. Fuck them. Fuck the haters.
This is the Tangent Podcast. I'm excited to see Colin play through Dark Souls with one Joy-Con.
I mean, it's probably easier than when I did it on a flight stick.
Yeah, I know it probably is, but I'm still excited to see
What's
you
the-
to like cramp your hands around that tiny thing. And
I'll probably
What's-
play my new
what's
run,
the,
my
like-
first run of the new Dark Souls on a wheel. On my wheel,
Well,
yeah. Because
what's the
I've already
craziest?
beaten the game on a flight
What's the
stick.
craziest peripheral someone's used?
The DK
Have people
bongos.
use, like, a
DK
dance pad?
bongos.
Oh, okay. That's fucking
Yeah, he beat it.
crazy.
Yeah, this motherfucker beat it on the DK bongos. It's actually beautiful.
So Colin,
Okay, HD Rumble only.
Steerable motion control only. Yeah, just waggle controls. Wii
Oh.
remote beat the game. Just really, I like the idea of just watching a guy for like 7 hours, just like shaking a Wii remote really, really carefully.
There's this
and he's
there's this,
speedrunning too. So like, you know,
Yeah, he's doing a 7-hour run, which is like pretty like that's really really lenient. It's still pretty quick to beat the game. You know, a good speedrun's like 4 hours.
it's like awesome games done quick or something, and the room's completely silent, and he's doing like the Duke's Archive skip, and he's just like he shakes.
Yeah, he just gets grounded to face, shaking the Wii remote.
No. I'm just imagining like Duke's. You have like you just tuned in. You have no idea what's going on, and he just shakes it, and then he shakes it, and he's like yes, and then you know you see like him do the skip on Duke's Archive, and the entire
Yeah, he's
room is
standing on the
clapping.
edge and he walks on, and everyone's like, yeah.
Believe it or not, I watched this video that kind of tells you like, oh, all these things you can do with your Nintendo Switch. It's like this British guy, and one of the cool things was he actually like opened a Joy-Con and showed HD Rumble, and it's definitely a very different like Rumble device compared to like normal Rumble, which is just like a offset spinning thing. But it's actually very sensitive, which is cool. He's like he threw it. He didn't throw it, but he put a Joy-Con in like a pan to kind of get the certain pitch, and like the subtleties of an HD Rumble is so subtle that you can actually do different pitches, and like he like for some reason the Joy-Con was able to play the Mario theme with just Rumble, but like different pitches. It was like really interesting. I was like, whoa, but tangent.
People can do that with floppy drives.
Colin's not impressed. Of course he's not. But
No, people have been making music using things that vibrate for a few years.
Yeah, it's called a dildo.
yeah,
Con.
when we go to Japan, I'm gonna buy like 7 vibrators, and I'm just gonna be like, okay, make music.
Just like, all right,
In your vagina.
Anyways,
we're doing Dark Souls on 7 vibrators with a teensy.
now that we've firmly cemented this as an adult podcast, just to tie this,
Beat Dark Souls with a dildo.
tying this back in, the reason why I say that this is interesting is, okay, if you look at their release window, it's like next month or at the end of this month, there's a few titles that come out, like the DLC for Pokken and the DLC for Xenoblade, but like no major game release really. I'm sure someone may correct me if there's like an indie title that of worth note that comes out. Then February you have Bayonetta on the 16th, I believe. Which is
I gotta grab that Bayonetta.
it's disappointing because I was like, oh man, maybe that would be a fun Valentine's Day to play, like, but it comes after. Oh well.
Poor TJ, God.
Well, I think
Did
they're,
TJ buy a Wii U
I think
to
they're
play?
softening.
I think he already had a Wii U, but yeah, he bought. Well, he's played Bayonetta on everything. This would be like his 5th copy.
It seems that this year is beginning like in a way where Nintendo's trying to soften their release calendar with ports because they want to save everything for the end of the year.
That's actually what I want to
But they
talk to
already-
you about, you guys. Actually, just to let me like round out. We just know that it's like Mario Aces comes sometime this spring. Hyrule Warriors comes out sometime this spring. Kirby Star Allies is in March. And then Payday 2 is in February. We're just talking about Nintendo games. And that's really all we really know. Tropical Freeze is in May. So we don't really know what's going on in April. And we don't really know what's going on past early May. Kirby's in March and like Bayonetta in February. So it feels kind of sparse.
I gotta wait for that TF2 port.
Oh my god, TF2.
Things that
Which would you even play it? Sorry, tangent. But what I'm saying is, last year, starting in March, they had a major game release every single month, and that was really impressive. And it told a great story in December because someone who worked retail, like in March, I was like, oh, there's only a few games, and then come October and November, I was like, there's a shit ton of games, you know. And if they're trying to keep that up, where there's a major game every single month, they're gonna do ports. That's
They have to pad it out somehow.
right. They can't do like new games every single month, or quote unquote new, right?
I mean, they have more resources now that they're not really working with the 3DS
That's another
on the
thing. Is
3DS,
this the
but like,
last year of the 3DS? Um, and it's with this direct, it's kind of hard to say because there are actually a few 3DS games still in the books.
Battle Royale, yeah.
Battle Royale and Sushi Striker, which was announced at E3 last year. Or
I'm glad they didn't can that one. I was
so
that's my most hype game of the year.
I'm curious if you agree with me, but I think this is going to be a trend for at least this year and next year where, yeah, until about June, we're going to get Wii U ports. They're just every single year, early in the year, we're going to get Wii U.
Well, I feel that Nintendo might have risked last year. Like they put all their freaking cards on all their freaking chips on the table for last year, so they just they pumped out a new Zelda, they pumped out a new Mario, and all this other
I
shit
disagree.
just to get people
Zelda's
interested.
been in the works for 5 years. They knew that was coming.
I mean,
Um,
well, sure, but I mean,
3D
they
World wrapped
they
up 3 years ago, so it's pretty reasonable to assume that they've been working on a Mario game ever since then, and they would know what the new hardware is.
Right.
So
well, yeah, but they didn't. But they hardly really delayed it. I mean, they delayed Breath of the Wild a shit ton, but they didn't delay Odyssey.
right, and I just think it was serendipitous that both of them fell in the same year, and they were at a tight spot and they needed a good release schedule, right? So I just think that was kind of how it happened. I don't think they blew their wad, if you will, like all in the first year. Because look, they also ported two Wii U titles, being like Mario Kart and God, what's the other one? The other one's really bothering me that I can't remember it right now. Um,
There was some other one, but
so like that's the thing. It's kind of actually serendipitous for them that the Wii U failed right now because they can pump out these games like they're new and
And
for
with that $30
large.
million dollars of fucking Switch sales, like it's gonna hit like a truck. The Nintendo, I mean, the Wii U had a really, really good like attach rate.
Yeah, it
And
was
that
something
nice.
about
And
it
they're
was like
relying on the games with higher attach rate to make those same sales on the Switch. And it might very well happen. You get that kind of attach rate on a system with as many sales as the Switch, and Nintendo's going to be in a really, really good position.
well, I mean, to give you an idea, it was something like 10.5 games. Every Wii U owner bought about 10.5 games, and that's fucking ridiculous. So,
Right, yeah.
um, that's kind of the thing. I don't know if you agree with me, but I think that's their cheat, that's their crutch, to get a game out every month is that they're going to use Wii U ports early in the year, every single year.
Which
It's
is
just
which is fine. Like I think it's gonna. I mean, it's.
do you think?
it. I don't know if they
I
can
think
do it for 4 years in a row, but like I think they're going to do it for the first three.
I don't think it'll be that long. I think they'll just kind of. I think they'll stop eventually.
Why?
Because I still
Can't
don't
stop,
think.
won't stop.
So,
Wait.
like Anton, you've made the perfect argument. You're like, I'm happy because I've never got to play these games before. Well, you like in depth, and meanwhile, I have a collection of 40 Wii U games, and I'm like, oh, they're like cherry picking the best games.
Yeah. There's a lot of good Wii U
Well, I know
games.
that a lot of people really want Mario Maker on the Switch, or at least like a sequel to Mario.
They
Maker.
should. Mario
Yeah,
Maker's
yeah,
really
even outside of that, like you're also getting all of the there's a gigantic sum of really good games for the 3DS and the DS that didn't really see the light of day other than their market, Like they hit their market and then nobody ever noticed them other than that. Like The World Ends With You is a great example of this.
Oh yeah.
Where these games that you hear people talk about them, you've heard like 6 people tell you, "Oh, The World Ends With You is a really excellent game." And you think about it, and then you forget about it, and then now Nintendo's like, "Hey, you know that Switch you got, buddy? Let me get you this game that you've heard about a few times from a few weirdos."
That's so true.
That
Damn it.
neckbeard you met on the bus, he played it. He played it too.
Um, the I do believe that. I mean, I'm not a business analyst by any means at all, but I do feel like this is like definitely the transitional year where it's like this is the year that they're definitely like, hey, we're gonna just finish up our last few 3DS projects, and then once that happens, we're gonna migrate all of our 3DS staff back onto Switch, and then we have a lot more resources and
I'm
can
honestly
potentially
surprised they're
release
still
more
working
games.
on the 3DS because it seems like the Switch does everything the 3DS does, but also it's a console
Yeah.
that you can put on your TV.
That's
I care about
That's-
that more.
I think it's
that's inaccurate.
I see it as more just
Actually,
For
I
me,
see it as more
the,
just
the 3DS
leftover.
games have become a very hard sale if I can play games on my Switch.
no. So, Colin, you said that the Switch does everything the 3DS does. That's incorrect because the Switch doesn't have a bottom screen that no developers used.
Oh,
That is true. You can't do that one thing in Phantom Hourglass that everyone got mad trying to figure out, and then they got back to it later and it was finished.
I
wonder if it'd be cool if there's a way if they could like have both screens on at the same time and make like another Wii U, like the Switch
they
gamepad.
tried
the Switch
that
is the
with the
gamepad
Wii
now.
U Virtual Console. I mean, they did do that with the Virtual Console where they just like had both screens up on the TV at once, and it was kind of like, this is weird.
It's like an emulator. It's a
Also,
pain
holy
in the
shit!
ass.
I want Virtual Console right now. I want Virtual Console. What's the fucking hold up,
Um,
Nintendo?
Yeah, I don't know. That's
What the
a
fuck?
I want to
It's
pay
just a-
another $5
it's-
for the game I paid $5 for the last 5 systems.
Exact.
fuck you, Colin.
I
I'm
want
going to
buy
do
Mario
that
Bros.
so hard.
like
and
20
you know-
million times.
Nat, please stop buying games you've beaten 4 times on Virtual Console. On Virtual Console again.
No. But the
I mean, except for Mario Party. If you buy Mario Party on Virtual Console, like you're in my good boy list still. Like,
I mean, you know I'm gonna buy Mario Party on Virtual Console. Why would
Well, also,
I'm just
I
saying.
sold
like,
my
it's
copy
okay.
of-
You can do that one.
I sold my copy of Earthbound. I'd like to have Earthbound on my Switch. That'd be kind of
that would be
nice.
nice.
I wish
I
I had
mean-
a copy of Earthbound to sell. Fuck.
Yeah, don't we all?
Sell it
So
all and buy Request Coin. God.
what I was gonna work into also this year is pretty heavy in 2D action platformers. Donkey Kong's not helping. So it's like Yoshi, Kirby, and Donkey Kong are all coming out this year. Kirby and Donkey Kong for sure. Who knows about Yoshi? And they're all coming out this year, and they're all 2D platformers. And it's kind of like, this is actually a problem that the Wii U had, where there's this stretch of period where it's like, take your pick of a 2D platform because there's 7 of them. So I don't really want to see Nintendo repeat that because I don't think it worked out for them on the Wii U. They're really good at making them, and they're fun, but do we really need 3 in 1 year? No.
Well, I think that's why people really got attached to why Galaxy is so beloved. Not just because it's that, but it's a great game too. But
where are you going with Galaxy here?
I meant Odyssey.
Okay,
But,
Odyssey. That's better.
But thanks. But I don't know. Like a lot of people were like, yeah, fuck yeah, Odyssey, because I think a lot of people still kind of didn't really consider. I know that you disagree, but a lot of people again consider like 3D World the same kind of style of Mario game like Galaxy and 64 and Sunshine
3D
are.
World was an excellent game. I honestly like it more than I did Galaxy 2 personally.
Honestly,
I can see why people like. I think the problem with Mario is one that I think Nat you've explained it to me like this as well, is that you sit down and you're like, oh, they're making another goddamn Mario game. Fuck, that's ridiculous. It's just the same as all the others. And then like you're sitting down and somebody puts the controller in your hands and you're like, yeah, I'm playing Mario.
Yeah.
Well, that's the same argument I hear about Zelda. Like, everyone's like, oh, why are they making their Zelda? Zelda's the exact same. Fuck you. Pretty much all of the Zelda games are vastly different. There are some exceptions, but for the most part, they're very different.
I've actually kind of come like 3 full circle on this, where if you said that all the Mario games are the same, I'd say no. And even if you said all the new Super Mario Bros. Games are the same, I'd be like, actually, they're all quite different from each other.
Nintendo never just milks stuff. I mean, they
That is a
do
bit
at times,
much
but
to say. There's things with those games that are fundamentally very, 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 very similar. But that's
true.
it's less of an
But-
issue with Zelda than it is with Mario. But I mean, those are your money makers right there. So,
Yeah, but I mean, like,
it works.
I don't know. I've played those games enough to tell you like what the differences are, and there are differences, you know. So, But regardless, it's just more on the topic at hand. And Anton, what exactly about Odyssey do you want to relate back to the fact that they're releasing three 2D platformers this year?
Um, my more or less was just it wasn't really that big of a point. It was more
All
just
right.
kind of that
It's just
they still are.
it's
Okay.
like
They're still more.
it's the bread and butter, I would say, of 2D platformers. But dear
Yeah.
God, don't flood your own system with 2D platformers. No one's asking for that. I don't think.
Anyway, we should probably wrap this up soon. I have like school
Yeah,
tomorrow.
no. This is the end of the conversation. There's plenty of things to talk about. I'd love to talk to you guys about, but not tonight. So
I'm not editing it. Haha. Good luck, bitch.
yeah, I mean, Anton, if we're gonna be real here for a minute, it's not like you would ever edit a podcast, anyways.
Got him. Got him. Oh, Gigi Nori.
Oh.
Hey.
Not bringing out the spice.
Oh. But I don't know. It was a. I mean, I think more or less it's more just fun
Oh,
that
overall, like you guys like
Nintendo actually like troll people.
Sorry,
I really enjoyed watching it.
Dark Souls is huge, but
huh?
The direct, you mean?
Dark Souls is huge.
Yeah.
Were you talking to Colin?
Yeah, the direct as a whole. No,
Yeah,
Colin,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
asking. Like,
I
do you like
quite
Dark?
enjoyed the direct. I liked watching through it, and I'm excited to see what we have this year.
Yeah, I think it was good. Considering it's not like you can have expectations because they just dropped it. They didn't say anything. They just said, "Oh, here you go."
It's like,
I
what's
think-
that? You
I
want to
applaud them
direct
for
everyone?
surprising us
Wham!
at least.
Just fucking like.
Yeah, like it was fun watching through. I wish the entire thing wasn't spoiled for me by looking at Twitter.
By
But
retweeting things on Twitter before you get up.
oh, thank you, Colin. But anyways,
You're welcome, Matt.
I think it's fun, but I think that the reason why that they bundled all these ports and stuff into one package is because I think they have more things that they want to show, but they didn't want to make whatever that Nintendo Direct too long, and I think we'll probably see it in late February or early March.
I do agree. I kind of wonder if this was just kind of a way to lessen the length of the real direct coming. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they have. I think this basically confirms that they have a real one coming, and it will happen in spring sometime. Because I highlighted it out for a reason, but I don't think their Q1 Q2 is quite fleshed out enough.
Yeah. They just need more time to get these games out.
It honestly does seem like everyone's like with all the there's all the fake Nintendo Direct stuff, and then they're just like, well, god damn it, let's just release a real one. Let's take what we have together.
That's what I
slap
kind of
a
wonder.
label
I
on
kind
it,
of
and shove it out.
wonder.
I
I kind of wonder if they just like got in with the hype and made one.
Oh my god, I hope that's real. Like they put a stupid tweet out, and then everyone's like Nintendo Direct, and they're like, how far can we take this? And then at the end of the day, like, we went too far. What do we do?
Quick, everyone, quick, everyone. We need to get a video together.
Quick, get Beltran.
Get the weird voiceover guy that we hired for some reason, and he sounds like a weirdo. Quick, we need to make some Dark Souls Chibi Robo art.
Somebody light Chibi Robo on fire. Plug him
Have
into
a brave.
They just like
put him in a bubble
I
bath.
feel
like
bad
a
for the
toaster.
video editors and the graphic designer.
Oh my god. Yeah, that I like this narrative more. This is now the canon. To be honest,
I'm gonna go to bed.
yeah, I just remembered that the investors meeting is I think the end of March, so that's probably when we'll see another Nintendo Direct because they want to look good for investors. So,
I agree.
anyways,
It was good to talk to you guys.
this has been the GameTsune podcast. Thank you for listening. We'll who really cares about Twitter handles? We'll pimp them out next time. We're in the link in the descriptions below. So, I've been your, I guess, de facto host, Nat. Special guest
I'm Anton.
Okay. Thank you, Colin.
Yeah.
Anyways, have a great night, guys. And hopefully you guys will hear from us again sometime. Bye.